The weather was fair for the first day of the final test ahead of the upcoming MotoGP season, with the sun shining down on the south of Portugal. Starting as he means to go on, the quickest in Portimao was reigning world champion Pecco Bagnaia with a time of 1:38.7. The Italian was only 0.46 seconds off the Portimao in-race lap record, set by Bagnaia himself, a time which demonstrates just how important this test is ahead of the championship start in earnest. Just 0.23 seconds slower came Mooney VR46 Racing Team's Luca Marini, who maintained his astonishing form from the previous test in Sepang, albeit this time on the wrong side of Bagnaia. Less than a shade slower was Aprilia Racing's Maverick Vinales, with a gap of just 0.2 seconds. That means it's not quite total Ducati domination on day one in Portimao, but the Bologna-based factory look content with their setup, and their riders seem comfortable with the minor changes made. At the end of the first day of action, 6 Ducatis finished in the top 10, with a particularly impressive performance coming from Gresini Racing's Alex Marquez. The Catalan briefly enjoyed top spot before slipping to 4th for the day. Meanwhile, his teammate Fabio Di Gianantonio was taken to hospital for a checkup after a crash late on. Looking most likely to have Ducati checking their rearview mirrors are Aprilia, who've announced their intention to challenge their compatriot factory this season. They may have taken small steps, but they've taken the right steps to improve their performances, and that much is evident in Vinales' performance. Meanwhile, teammate Aleix Espargaro finished 12th, 0.005 seconds outside of the top 10. And interestingly, despite the development of new wings, both Aleix and Maverick appear to prefer last year's version. One rider who does seem to like the changes on his bike is Monster Energy Yamaha's Fabio Quartararo, who was trying lots of different front-end setups and exploring what can be done now the new aero has been fitted. He finished in 8th, while teammate Franco Morbidelli, who was trying different chassis today, finished 21st. As for Honda, the big question heading into the Portimao test was whether they'd settled on a final spec for the season, and perhaps more importantly, whether they could put together a bike with which Marc Marquez could win the championship. The volume of new parts and changes they're making means that's still up for debate, but Marc's determination isn't in doubt, with the 30-year-old getting right back on track in new leathers after his fall at turn 14. The pressure's on, but Marquez still has his eyes on the prize. That being the case, teammate Joan Mir finished ahead of him in 14th. However, neither were the quickest of the Honda bikes, with LCR Honda Castrol rider Alex Rins finishing top of all the Honda machines in 11th. And after struggling in Sepang, KTM are still aiming to unlock the potential they believe they have in their bikes. However, today's evidence won't do much to dispel doubts. Brad Binder and Jack Miller finished in 15th and 16th respectively, after spending most of the day closer to the bottom of the classification. While both their bikes had updated aerodynamics, they were trying with and without downwash ducts. The first day of the Portimao MotoGP official test concluded with Ducati where they expect to be, but Aprilia are hot on their heels and ready to seize the crown. Looking down the classification though, another question has to be asked, as to whether the other factories are ready to compete with the Italians.